Hello and welcome to the first ever podcast version of Inside Jace's Crack Pack. Last week I did a version of Crack Pack on my blog, but at the beginning of this week it was suggested that maybe I would try this podcast. So here goes. This is a pack I bought at my local game store and I have not opened it yet, so I know as much as you about the pack. The first card of the pack is Nimbus Nade. It's 2 colourless and 1 blue for a 2/2 flyer, so quite good with no abilities, but it also has Bestow. 4 colourless and 1 blue. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has flying. I really like this card in the draft. It's strong, it's a flyer, so probably a good pick, as the opponent has to put something out either to destroy it or another flyer to block it. Not a lot of flyers going around in this set actually. The next card is a card I don't like actually. I mean, draft, it's okay, it's removal, but it's a card I spoke about last week, I think. It's Last Breath. 2 colourless and 1 white for an instant. Exile target creature with power 2 or less, its controller gains 4 life. This is a reprint. I learnt that midweek, but I don't see why it was reprinted. I hate it. You get to exile one of their creatures, yes, great. But only if it has power 2 or less, so it's not going to probably be causing you a lot of trouble. Maybe it'll exile the Nimbus Nade, I suppose, but its controller gains 4 life. Not nice if you're giving your opponent 4 life for exiling one of their cards. I wouldn't put this in my top 3. I don't know what else is in the pack. If the rest of the pack is rubbish, then possibly, but I really don't think so. Now we're on to the green cards. The card is Savage Surge. 1 colourless and 1 green for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn and untap that creature. I like this card. Heroic decks love this card. Buff your creature on the heroic side, but it also buffs it until end of turn +2/+2. I normally use this card when I'm blocking, to mean I've got another blocker, and so that it's a strong blocker. I like this card. So far, that will be in my top 3, although I've only opened 3. So, next card is Defend the Herd. It is 1 colourless and 1 green for an instant. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt players this turn. Great, I suppose. It's a bit like a fog, which was not greatly received, and still isn't. But in the draft, yes, you can postpone. It means you're postponing damage or withholding damage for a bit, I suppose, until next turn when you probably have something to deal with that damage. Hopefully, that's the point of this card. So I put that in my top 3, and Last Breath is not in my top 3 at all now. So definitely not going to be in my top 3. The next card is another green card. It's 2 colourless and green for an instant. For a sorcery even, sorry, my words are up. It's Time to Feed. Its ability is choose target creature an opponent controls. When that creature dies this turn, you gain 3 life. Target creature you control fights that creature. So this means you pick one of your big creatures. You pick one of their biggish, but probably smaller than your creature, and say, I'm going to fight that creature with my creature. Doesn't mean you have to attack it, and if that's a flying creature, and you've got a ground creature, you can still do that. So, and if you know that creature's going to die, you will target that creature because you gain the 3 life from it. I like this card of draft. It's likely to get rid of your opponent's creature. It gains you 3 life, which is just incidental, not purposeful, not what you're really choosing this card for, but it works. That's my top 3. So the top 3 so far is Nimbus Nade, Savage Surge, and Time to Feed. Now I move on to the red commons. There's only one, and it's a good one. It's red, 1 red, nothing else, and it's instant. It's Titan Strength. Target creature gains +3/+1 until end of turn and scry. Red has some nice heroic, and this card in a heroic deck, in a draft, will be really a high pick for most people doing that kind of style. You get to buff your creature to deal more damage or to kill one of their creatures, and you get to see what you're drawing next, or if it's a dead draw such as a land and you have enough land, you go and get rid of that land, put it to the bottom of your library, and hopefully you're drawing another decent card. Do I put it in my top 3? Yeah, first pack, probably. Probably pick it above Savage Surge. But I actually like this for heroic deck better than Savage Surge. And green doesn't have the best heroic. Now I move on to black. Black in this deck, in this pack, okay, so I know what's coming. I've cheated and looked ahead. Black is quite nice. The next card, the first one, is not a card is a card I don't like actually. It's Return Thanos. It's 1 and black for a 3/3. But it has a major downside of Defender. Most creatures with Defender do not have very little power, if any. This has 3 power, but it has another ability. 1 colourless and 1 blue. Return Thanos can attack this turn as though it didn't have Defender. If you're running blue and black, you pick this card probably, but not a first or an early pick, a late pick. I wouldn't put this in my top 3, and it's not going in my top 3. I don't like it, if I'm honest, and I don't ever think I will like it. None of the blue-black decks really find a place for this card, so not for me. The next card is quite a high mana cost card. It's Lash of the Whip, which is 4 colourless and 1 black for an instant. Target creature gains -4/-4 until end of turn. This is hugely expensive mana cost for what it is. I definitely don't like it. Yes, it makes one of their creatures either smaller when it attacks you, or kills from their creatures if you need killing. But do I really like it? It's not in my top 3. The ones so far are better than that. I don't like this at all. Not in my top 3. Definitely not. The next card is Kevin Lampard. I really like this card. It's 3 colourless and 1 black for a 2/2 with Intimidate. Intimidate is a really nice ability. If you don't know it, go look it up, because you'll see it and immediately enjoy it. But it also has Bestow for 5 and 1 black. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 in Intimidate. Bestow, not so much. Bestow can be a massive ability in Limited, such as a draft, because you quite often end up with that much mana, because there's not a high chance of aggro decks. Well, there are aggro decks, but they're not quick enough. They'll quite often have that much mana, I suppose, what I'm getting. This is in my top 3. My top 3 is now shaping up to be Nimbus Nade, Kevin Lampard, and Time to Feed. Still haven't seen the full pack yet though, so it could all change. Ooh, I don't like this card. The next card is Guardians of Meltis. 3 colourless for a 0/6 with Defender. That is it. Nothing else, no good side to this. 3 mana for a 0/6, not in my deck. Never. I hate this card. There is no upside to it. It can't do anything. It's a good, yes, it will block their creatures. Yes, it will hold them off and stop them attacking early, if you can get this out. But for 3 mana, is it really worth it? Nimbus Nade. There's loads of cards for 3 mana which are way better than this. So, definitely not in my top 3. The next card, I am now onto the uncommons, is Peak Eruption. 2 colourless and 1 red for a sorcery. Destroy target mountain. Peak Eruption deals 3 damage to that land's controller. In standard, in a sideboard, this is most people's favourite choice. Most people will pick this and put this in their sideboard. But only if their opponent is playing red will they sideboard it in, which is where its downside is in draft. Your opponent has to be playing red. If no one else is playing red, you're stuck. You're stuck with this card in your hand that's dead. The only thing it can do is deal damage to you, and you do not want that. So not in my top 3, it's a bit iffy. If you know other people are playing red in the draft, possibly, but if you don't know whether they are, is it worth the risk? I would say not. So not my top 3. So far the top 3 is still the same. The next card is a black one. It's 3 colourless and 2 black. Keepsake Gorgon. A 2/5 with Death Touch, which immediately sounds good. It's quite a good strong card. It's a high mana cost, but it's 5 toughness, so it's not likely to die to a lot. but with only 2 toughness, it sounds bad, but it has the death touch element, so it's guaranteed to kill your opponent's creature if they block. It also has Monstrosity 1 for 5 and 2 black. When Keepsake Gorgon becomes monstrous, destroy target non-Gorgon creature an opponent controls. Sorry, my words are coming out a bit awkward today. I like this card, and it's going in my top 3, because I honestly think this can make it in a draft. This can be the deciding factor, because if your opponent only has 1 creature out, you make this monstrous, destroy that creature. You're attacking with a 2/5 every turn. They're going to struggle. So my top 3 is shaping up to be Nimbus Knave, Tavern Lampard, and Keepsake Gorgon. There are 2 cards left in this pack. That could change. The next card is Battle-Wise Hoplite. I run a blue-white heroic deck in standard, so immediately I know what this card is, and I really like it. It's 1 white and 1 blue for a 2/2 with heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Battle-Wise Hoplite, put a 1/1 counter on Battle-Wise Hoplite, then scry 1. So if you're using spells like Savage Surge to buff Battle-Wise Hoplite, then not only does it buff it till end of turn with +2/+2, but Battle-Wise Hoplite gets a +1/+1 counter on it, and you can see what you're going to draw. Scry is an ability I like, and anything with Scry quite often fits into a deck I like. So, this card is in my top 3, knocking out Nimbus Knave. Now, time for the rare. This is the important bit. Quite often a rare will be first pick pack 1, because there's not a lot that can beat a rare. There are things that can be better than a rare, but this rare is a bomb, and a very good bomb. It's Prophet of Prophets. I showed this card earlier in the week, and the week before. It's 3 colours for green, blue, 2/3. Untap all creatures and lands you control during each other player's untapped step. You may cast creature cards as though they had flash. So you're casting your creature cards in their turn with flash. You're untapping all your lands, so you can tap out in your turn and tap out in their turn. So you're playing double creatures. Instead of just playing creatures in your turn and having to wait to next turn to play your next creature, you play one in your turn, then you play the next one in their turn. This is a bomb. This is a game decider in not standard draft. I mean, this is my top 3. Now, Battle-Wise Hoplite, Keepsake Gorgon, and Prophet of Profit. I really like those cards. I would probably pick pack 1, pick 1 would be Prophet of Profits, then Battle-Wise Hoplite, and then Keepsake Gorgon. I like these cards. They're good. This pack was a nice pack. Prophet of Profits is immediately going into the deck I own, as I need the final one. So, thanks for joining me. Hope you can join me next week. If you have any ideas or feedback, please leave a comment. Thank you for joining me.